Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? Welcome back to the channel. If you are a first timer to this channel, then welcome to you guys. Thank you guys for being here. This is our watch list for Lotto Friday, January 20th. I put these videos out, these watch lists out for you guys for free every single day. Normally, guys, there's a top 5 in this watch list that are given to the Griswold Gold members. You can find out about that information on my Twitter down below or in my Discord. But the top 5 normally go to the Griswold Gold members. Today, I'm going to give you guys those top 5 for free at the end of this video. So make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video. I will give you the 5 plays that I think that will perform the best on Lotto Friday. Why do we call it Lotto Friday? Is because most tickers have their options expiring on a Friday. And that's really the reason. It's like a lotto play. You put your money in and you hope for a big win. So Lotto Friday, I put the videos out for free every single day. I do weekly swings, monthly swings, and a ton of learning tool videos for you guys. This channel is filled with over 400 videos for you guys to learn off of, okay? We go through broadening formations. We go through what 1-2-2 rev strat reversals are, time frame continuity, what happens when we gap up, also known as opening range breakout, the orb. So there are a ton of videos, review videos, to show you guys exactly how I trade every single day. And this video shows you exactly how I trade every single day. So I will mention, if these day trades are not working out for you guys on the daily setups, you guys need to hop down to the 1 hour, the 30, the 15, and set your triggers and targets and look for setups on those time frames, but still manage it on a lower time frame. For me, I always manage it off the 5 because it reduces the risk for me the most. And the number one job of a trader is to protect your capital. And that's one of the easiest ways to do it, is to let the candlestick stop you out on the 5 or let your targets stop you out. And I explain all of that in the review videos, so make sure you guys check those out. There's a review video playlist. There is also review videos in the learning tools playlist. Okay, not the beginners learning tool playlist, but the learning tool playlist. Let's get started on this watch list. We're going to start out with Goldman Sachs. So Goldman Sachs on Wednesday had an inside bar hammer candle. And what happens when we have the hammer candle? That's an actionable signal to the downside, and that's what we had. We had a 2 down today, but it finished green. So when we have these 2 downs that finish green, we call that a failed 2. And it gives us higher probability that the next candle is going to trend back to the upside. So that's what we're going to look for on Goldman Sachs on Lotto Friday. We're going to look for calls at 352.16 and first targets at 354.79. And guys, always on the calls, all we're doing is we're putting the targets at the tops of the preceding wicks. Those are your targets. That's your order of magnitude. That's where the bears have your stop losses. You can use any one of those terms. You can make up your own term. I don't care. But that's where we set our targets. And I'll show you on the puts, it's the exact opposite. We just use the bottom of the candles of the preceding wicks. We'll move on to WFC, that's Wells Fargo. And I'm glad Wells Fargo is next because it's a good segue into why I have this target at the bottom of the candle. But let's first go through and say we had a 2 up that finished red on Wednesday. We were looking for it to trend down. That's what it did. A lot of plays gapped. And guys, if you don't know what a gap is, we opened way down here below this original trigger from yesterday. We opened way down here. So that's what we call a morning gap. Now, I will put a video at the end of this one, and you guys can see exactly how to play those morning gap plays. Because once they break through that original trigger, like let's say tomorrow morning, Wells Fargo opens up right here, okay? And we start trending up, okay? Well, we've gapped up above our trigger. We're way above the trigger. So that trade becomes nullified, and then the trigger becomes nullified. Not the trade, but the trigger. This trigger that we set here becomes nullified. We can't use it anymore. So what we then do is go into the gap strategy. And that video, like I said, is at the end of this one. I'll put it there for you guys. You can check it out. But for now, Wells Fargo has this 2 down green. We're going to look for calls back to the upside with a trigger 43.20 and first target at 43.30, which isn't great. So then your next target I think I said trigger, but your next target would just go to the high again. So once that gap is filled, see how there's no candle in between here? That's the gap fill. So in order to fill that, that becomes our target. Then the next target goes just to the top of the candle. Okay? So this movement here is not great. And again, a lot of times what happens, let's say we don't gap up in the morning. We just open up normal. Okay? We open up. We start coming up. We come up. We come through that target. And then we start retracing, retracing. Because we've hit the target. Okay? So it doesn't always happen that way. But a lot of times we hit that target and it retraces, and people end up holding, hoping that it's going to continue to go up. And a lot of times it doesn't, guys, because it did its job. Okay, it did what it said it was going to do. It said it was going to trigger. It said it was going to hit its target. It did, and then it reversed. And people didn't take their profit at that target. And I don't care, guys. I don't care if your profit there is 3% or 300%. If it reverses through that target, just take your profits. When you're day trading, play the long game. Don't go looking for these 1,000% plays that people are posting on Twitter, because they don't happen very often. You are far better off at taking the 10, 20, 30, 40, 50% plays. 10% a day over a day with the same amount of capital in a trade. Let's say you're trading with $1,000. At 10% a day, you'll make $500 a week, or 200% a month off of that $1,000. So play the safe game, play the small game, get those base hits. Okay, that's all we're teaching here is base hits. If you're buying 10 contracts and you want to sell the majority of them at that first target when it reverses through, or the candlesticks reverse you through, and you want to hold a few, that's fine. Okay, but if you're buying 1 or 2 contracts, guys, 3 contracts, I wouldn't hold anything for runners. Because if you hold for runners and it ends up trending down, you're going to end up making nothing on the trade. Okay, and I'd rather you guys make something than nothing. Okay, so let's hop over to AMC. AMC, same idea. So 2 down, finish green. We're going to look for calls at 565. And a nice move here. There's a good amount of room, $1 move from the trigger to the target. Do we hit that target? Maybe not, but we're managing this thing on a smaller time frame. So if we're not hitting this target, we're letting the candlesticks stop us out. Okay, and it's like that whether you're looking at it off the daily chart or you're looking at the 30-minute chart or the 15-minute chart. It does not matter. And I'll go through a SPY play at the end of this video as well, just to show you guys exactly what I mean by that. Okay, because there was a SPY play on the 15-minute that a lot of people in the room took. We had a conversation about it because some guys' candlesticks were pennies out. So we're trying to figure that out. But I will go through that SPY play at the end of the video as well. EW, 2 down green. We can look for calls at 78.93. First target at 79.45. And we've got really good time frame continuity. And people don't talk about this stuff enough when they're talking about the strat. But this stuff, guys, right here is so important. Because what this is telling us is there's buyers on the yearly, the quarterly, the monthly, the weekly, and the daily. It's telling us there's buyers right across the board. So that right there tells us this trade has a high probability of working out. Does it mean it's going to work out? No, but every strategy that we look at, every trade that we look at is based off of probabilities. And it has to be, because nobody knows what this next candlestick is going to be. So if it goes against us, then that's where the risk management comes in. And the best traders are the best risk managers of their capital. The easier you, or the quicker you come to that realization, the better trader you will become. Cut your losses, let your winners run, let the candlesticks and targets stop you out. So this is our setup. 2 down green. We're looking for calls back to the upside. Great time frame continuity. When I'm trading, I really only need the hourly and the daily because my trades are 3 minutes to an hour and a half long. So as long as I have these two in my favor, I'm okay taking the trade. But when we have these additional charts in our favor, the weekly, the monthly, the quarterly, the yearly, then that's just it's a bonus. It gives us higher probability that the trade's going to work out. We'll move on to lift here, LYFT. Lift also with the 2 down that finished green. It's had a great run, great start to the year. We're going to look for calls at 14.49, first targets at 14.87 on Lift. Roku, same thing, 2 down green, so we look for calls. And again, guys, this was a reversal. We talked about the Roku reversal here. And yes, it gapped down. So again, we have to go to the gap plays. But this was a 2-2 reversal on the day. Okay, 2 up red. We look for it to trend down. It did exactly that. So now we're going to look for it to come back up to the upside. We'll look for calls at $50.39 and the first target at $52.36 on Roku. We move on to Adobe with the inside bar on Adobe. So let's talk about inside bars. A lot of people are unsure of them. A lot of people are looking at 2-2 reversals at inside bars. If you're brand new to this, concentrate on the inside bars, guys, or concentrate on the 2-2 reversals. Concentrate on one thing, okay? Stay in your lane. Once you get a hold of that specific strategy with the strat, then you can move on to something else, and then you can move on to something else. Let's take our baby steps here. Let's learn how to count first, and then once we learn how to count, then we can learn how to count in 5s and 10s, and then we can start doing addition and subtraction. I'm using metaphors, but that's what this is. We learn to roll over before we crawl, before we walk, before we run. Okay? That's what this is. So concentrate on one strategy, stay in your lane, pick one thing, and learn it. Okay? So this is an inside bar. It does not break the high. It does not break the low of the previous candle. It stays within the range. We call it consolidation. It's a tightening range. And when you see this yellow candlestick here, that's part of my Griswold Strat indicator that I've created for you guys. So it includes time frame continuity. It includes the candlestick numbers. It includes the yellow inside bars, the white outside bars, the Sarah Strat Sniper 50% rule, and a whole bunch of other things. So it's all the indicators wrapped into one. It's a one-time fee, $25. You can find that link down below, or it's part of the Griswold Gold membership. So the inside bars are an actionable signal. The shooter candle, which is this big body, and then this wick is 2 times the size of this body, that is an actionable signal, okay, to the downside. Now, we could very well trend up, but probabilities, again, tell us that the shooter candles push us to the downside. Regardless, inside bars, when you see them, I want you guys to think of a spring being compacted, tightened, loaded, and when you release that spring, what happens? This happens, okay? This is your spring. This is the energy released from that spring when the force is reduced on it. So I'm using more technical terms than I need to. But we look for that explosion. That's exactly what happened off of this inside bar. We open and boom, down. This inside bar. We opened, we gapped up here. But we still had this nice little run. And that's what we're trying to show here. So again, this one didn't work out. But they don't always work out. Probabilities tell us that, hey, when we have that inside bar, we usually get a good run and we usually get a good trade. Here's another one. This one gapped, okay? Here's another one. Didn't hit full targets, but we still had a good trade to the upside off that inside bar. Here's another one. Didn't work out, okay? So I could do this all day. Triggered and looks like it just missed the target. Here's another one. We opened. Didn't work out. Here's another one. Gap down. We had that run though. Okay, so that's what we look for off of these inside bars. Do they always work? No. But probabilities tell us the majority of the time, yes, the inside bars work out. So we have 2 actionable signals here. The inside bar, the shooter candle, calls at 346.73 or the puts at 340.01 on Adobe. We'll move on to BA, that's Boeing. Boeing with the 2 down green, calls at 209.67. Bed Bath & Beyond. So here's a shooter candle. Normally I won't put this on here, guys, because it's a 2 down that finished red. And I said shooter. It's a hammer candle. So with the body and then the wick being 2 times plus the size of this body, that is a hammer candle. It's an actionable signal. I would like to see this green, but even if it's red, it is still an actionable signal back to the upside. Less probability than if it was green, okay? I'm going to put it on here because it's important for you guys to learn all this stuff. Okay, so calls at 399 and a really good run here if we can get it First target at 477 on BBBY. We'll move on to C, which is Citibank. The 2 down, finish green. 2-2 reversal. Calls at 49.60. CRM, 2 down green. Look for calls at 146.68. What is this one? Chevron, CVX, 2 down green. We are already 2 up on the week outside of these 2 pink lines. So we can look for calls at 179.95. And first targets with good magnitude all the way up to 182.38 on CVX. Disney, 2 down green. This is not quite a hammer candle, like I said. We need this wick to be 2 times at least the size of this. So we're not quite there, but pretty close. But we are 2 down green. We'll look for calls at 99.45 and first targets at 101.13. We move on to GM, General Motors, 2 down green. We have that gap that we talked about. We gapped down off of this reversal again. There was that 2 up that finished red. We trended down. Okay, so we're going to look to come back up now. This finished green. We'll look for calls at 35.94. I'm calling the numbers out. They're right on this right-hand side, if you guys can see them there. And this actually trended up a bit. So 36.02 is our trigger price. And the first target is at 36.42. Bottom of the candle because we have that gap fill, okay? And you guys can even do this. Look. There. You can even fill the gap there. That can become your first target. That can become your second target, okay? IBM with the 2 down green. So 2 ways you can look at this one. 2 down green. It is a shooter candle. So could it trend down? Yes, but it is green, so less probability. We have time frame continuity pointing down, but when we have a 2 down green, I like to look for these things to trend back to the upside. So we're going to look for calls at 142.23. Nothing saying that this can't come to the downside on this play, but we're going to look for it to go back to the upside. And if it goes down, it goes down. MU, 2 down, finish green. So again, we look for the calls at 57.09. Good magnitude, $1 range up to that 58.05 target. So Pfizer, here's one that I want to look at. So Pfizer has had a really poor start to the year. So we have this not quite a shooter candle, but it's close. Okay, we have full time frame continuity to the downside. I feel, again, we have this 2 down that finished green. We're gonna look for it to trend up, but again, if you want, you can put this trigger down here, and you can put them on both ends, and you can look for that continuation. Pfizer has not had a good year. It's trending down. So would it be a big surprise to see it trend down? This orange line represents us going 2 down on the year. So if we go into the yearly chart and look, would it be surprising to see the break of this inside bar for Pfizer to break through to go 2 down on the year? It wouldn't, and it might not happen tomorrow, but it's trending that way, guys. That is the way that it looks like Pfizer is heading. So it might take a week to get there. It might take 3 or 4 days to get there. I don't know. But you can look at this setup either way. Okay? So you can take it to the upside, you can take it to the downside based on what that candlestick is telling us. PayPal, same thing. We had the 2 down that finished green. Not quite a shooter candle. We're going to look for calls back to the upside at 77.42. The top 5 is coming up real soon, guys. Stay with me here. We move on to Roblox. Roblox had the 2 down that finished green. Big gap down. We're going to look for this to come back up and fill that gap. Calls at 34.12. First target at 35.41. Space with the 2 down green. We'll look for calls at 5.07. Good magnitude back to the upside. Uber also with that 2 down that finished green. We'll look for calls to the upside at 29.29. First target at $30.09. XOP, 2 down green. So we can look for calls back to the upside on this one. We are 2 up on the week already, so we'll see if we can get a continuation there. Calls at 140.28 on XOP. And let's get into the top 5 here, guys. Number 1, And in no particular order, here is the top 5. Apple, 2 down green. Great time frame continuity to the upside. We'll look for calls at 136.25. First target at 138.61. And I will tell you at the end of this top 5, as soon as we're done, we'll run through that SPY play really quick. Let's go to BIDU with the inside bar and shooter candle. So 2 actionable signals. We talked about those inside bars and how they have these big runs off of them. And we hit triggers and we hit targets. Okay, so we talked about them. We talked about the high probability of them. So this is not quite a shooter candle, but it's pretty darn close. Inside bar. Calls at 130.12. Puts at 126.81. The targets are marked out for you guys there. Number 3 out of the 5. Again, in no particular order. Coca-Cola. So Coke. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a shooter candle. This, ladies and gentlemen, is an inside bar. So we have full time frame continuity. Coke is in a downtrend. We can look for the calls at 60.64, but we'll also look for, and I'm going to move this down. We'll also look for the puts at 59.71. First target at 59.68, which is not great. So let's get a second target in there. There's a gap fill right there. And let's put in a third target at the bottom. Now, we're not hitting that third target at 58.77. We may, looking at some of the candles on Coke, we might. I don't think that happens, but it is there. We'll mark it out. Those are the setups for Coca-Cola, 3 out of 5. We go to number 4 out of the 5. Snap, SNAP, a 3-1 setup. Outside bar, inside bar. Okay, you notice the white and the yellow. That's part of the indicator. This gold highlight over top of them, also part of the indicator. It highlights those 3-1 setups. So the outside bar, inside bar setups are not very common. You can see I'm going back in time. I'm looking for the last one we had. It was back in June. Okay, they're highly probable for profitable plays. Okay, so again, this one, I'm not going to zoom in, but we triggered here and we came down. It wasn't a great play. Okay, could you have taken profit on it? Yes, as long as you manage your risk. But let's go up and look at these two real quick, and then we'll move on to the last top 5 that I've got. So this 3-1 setup ended up going outside bar. This 3-1 setup ended up having a really nice run. Okay, so again, do they always work? No. Is the probability of them working out very high? Yes, it is. Are they rare? Yes, they are. They don't happen very often, but they tend to be a very, very good trade setup. So 3-1 on Snap. We'll look for calls at $9.75, puts at $9.31. The last one I've got for you guys, Procter & Gamble. Okay, so PG, shooter candle, has been trending down. We've got full time frame continuity to the downside. You notice we've trended down from the top of this broadening formation. Okay, I don't teach broadening formations very often because too many people are new and they're very subjective. But you can see we've done exactly what the BF said it was going to do. Highs to lows to highs to lows to highs. Where are we coming back down? Are we going to hit this 122 mark at some point and go 2 down on the year? This is our yearly mark to go 2 down. So we'll see what happens. We have that shooter candle. We've got full time frame continuity on our side. We can look for this to trend down. There's the first target. I marked it out. You have to go back a fair ways all the way to November to find that target. But that's the setup, guys. Normally I don't give you two continuations, but I'm going to look for PG to trend down so we can watch it on Lotto Friday. So that's the watch list, guys. Let's go through this SPY trade. And I'll show you really quickly how to handle this. So on to the 15-minute, and I'll show you where this trade materialized. Here was the 3-1 setup. Now, some people were showing this inside bar as a 2. Now, the live trading bots that I have as part of the gold memberships would have pulled this trade up for you guys. So you guys would have seen it. What we're dealing with is, at this point, this is where the stock opened, and we have full time frame continuity on the hourly and the daily at this point right here. Okay, so once we trigger through here and the second candle opens, we come through that target and it reverses, we can be out of that trade, guys. You're out of that trade right here. And to go from 388.65, and this is, guys, this is 15 minutes, less than 15 minutes to make this trade happen. So you could have been done in your day with one trade, depending on your strike price, depending on your expiry. I can't tell you how much this trade made, but I would say going from 388.70 to 387.71, that's $1. You were at least, again, this depends on your strike and expiry, but you're at least 20% on this trade. You could have been way higher depending on what you chose. If you took this price with the trigger at 388.65 and you took a 388 strike, this would have been a very profitable trade for you, especially if you took same day expiry or if you took a Friday expiry. This would have been a fantastic trade for you. So I would say at least 20% on this trade, but it's probably more. A bunch of the people in the room took this trade off of this 3-1 setup. We triggered, we hit targets, and we came through, and that was it. That was it, guys. That was the trade. Okay, less than 15 minutes. It's very, very simple stuff. Concentrate on it. And again, this is what I'm saying. If the day trade setups aren't working for you guys, start hopping down to the 15 minutes. Start hopping down to the 30 minutes. And just watch what's happening here. When you see these setups, take these setups. Don't worry about what's showing on the daily chart. Okay? That's why you have your time frame continuity over here. It's pointing down on the hourly. It's pointing down on the daily. Take this trade. Okay? If you don't understand time frame continuity, there's a video at the end of this one. You can watch that one as well. It'll explain time frame continuity and how to decipher it, how to know when the hourly flips, when the daily flips, etc., when the 30 flips. So watch that video. There's a gap video as well, and there's a, I believe, a beginner's tool playlist at the end. So thank you guys for watching this stuff. Good luck on Lotto Friday. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. I hope you had a great week. I wish you nothing but the best and nothing but green. If you're not already on the Discord, get in on the Discord. Let's learn and earn together. Also, in the description below, there's a TradingView video link. It'll give you free 30-day trial to TradingView. Take advantage of that, guys. Good luck. We'll see you all on the next one for Monday's watch list. Goodbye. Adios. Have a great weekend. See you later.